Always do that.
I'm a night rider. Every time that I go up past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I give what I got, I supply that fire. I supply that fire.
What's going on, bookworms? Welcome back to another episode of Bookmarks with Bump. It is your host, Sean Bump Cote, National Academy of Sports Medicine, certified personal trainer, State of Connecticut certified journeyman, and ask anybody who knows me, certified dog. Here to talk about the different threads that I may stumble upon but never read on my Twitter that I've had stowed away. I got some housekeeping notes here right off the bat. I've got, this week is episode 54. I made a grave mistake last week. It's like I've been jumping around in time a bunch. And to be honest with you, last week was episode 53. If you hadn't figured that out by the title, I figured it out as I was mapping it out. And I was so excited about doing a year of Bookmarks with Bump. We had 52 episodes, 52 weeks. And we're actually here on week 54. And the year actually has just surpassed us. We hadn't even been to a year. It was 4 days before summer when I first started Bookmarks with Bump. It has grown, it has shrunk, it has done all things. And that's pretty much what we do. We go over all different types of things here, mainly focusing on health and fitness, but also on mindsets, sports, whatever seems interesting to me. I mean, last week we talked about the drawbacks of nicotine and the benefits of it as well. We talked about some healthy stretches and tips, and we also talked about the shaman sage. And one of the things that was affected by the shaman sage is the ability to speak. And I had just somehow found a way to gloat right through that when in actuality, I can't talk. How many times have you listened to me say, "Oh, come on the podcast after I just fumble around a bunch of words like I just did right there? I completely glossed over the fact that there are moments where my tongue doesn't move in my mouth the way my brain is telling it to. I can't talk sometimes. It's and it was a shocking revelation for me to hear myself say that and know that that was a lie. I told a lie here on the podcast. Put this one down in the history books. My goodness gracious. Anyway, we're jumping all around here. It's episode 54, so shout out to Teddy Bruschi for real this time. I know what episode the podcast is, okay? I created it. How would I not know? It just seems like time has been moving around so fast. And it kind of really has. Over the last 6 months working 7 days a week, I don't even know what the day is, you know? It's like that famous philosopher, Big Sean. He once said, "I've been working 8 days a week. I don't know what the cluck today is." Yeah, I can relate to that. Just bouncing around a lot. But what I've kind of been reminding myself of as of late over the last couple weeks, I think since we introduced box breathing to the fold, when we talked about box breathing, I think when I started to implement that, I kind of made some differences here in my life. I was, doing a go to the gym, run right after thing, or bike right after, one or the other. And I just recently went back to a schedule that I found a lot of success with, and that was to run right after work. And now I have the comfort of coming home very quickly and conveniently right after work, getting changed into some running gear and heading out for my miles. And I've been doing 4 miles every day, except for Sunday. I'll run a little bit extra. Last week I did 4.5. This week I did 5. And I will slowly continue to build back up. My toes are in pretty decent shape. I know that my left big toenail should probably be pulled off of my body, but it's not right now. It's gonna stay there. but just been getting back into the swing of things, and then coming home, eating something, having a nice meal, and then going to the gym around an hour and a half to 2 hours later. So that's been nice. Yeah, I think that's made a decent change. Now, granted, here's the deal. No matter what, I never really got to bed on time. As much as I'd like to be in bed by 8, asleep by 9, it's usually in bed by 9, asleep by 10, some days even later. And I deem that to be something that's unavoidable. But if I can go into that a little less stressful, I'm going to. And that's what I've been doing now. I've been going to the gym. It's funny too, because I come home after my run, I take a shower, I eat. I'm done at the gym, I eat, I take a shower, and it's like all of my sections of the day are culminated by a meal. I get into work at 5 a.m. I work till 10 o'clock break. I have my overnight oats and an orange. That's what I've been having. I've been adding fruit into the diet, but I have my overnight oats and then my orange. Okay, and then we work again until 12:30 lunch comes around, and I have my salad with chicken and beets, and I have an apple. And then we work until I get home and go for my run, and then I eat, and then I shower, and then and then I hang out for a little bit. And usually what I've been doing with that time, I've been doing laundry throughout the week, as it's with that gym and run separation, there's been an additional bout of laundry. So I'm doing laundry in that period of time, or I'm recording the podcast in that period of time. I'm doing meal prep in that period of time. I never really take my foot off of the gas, but what I've been reminding myself is to just slow down. It doesn't all have to get done at once. And I've been taking my time with things. And I think that's a lot of that is due to kind of thinking a little bit more clearly. And that could be due to help of the box breathing, perhaps. Trying to declutter and de-stress life when you live a busy when you have a busy schedule and you have things that you're trying to achieve. I think it's so that's so synonymous with the never-ending grind. But you don't have to grind to have success or get through it. Sometimes you just have to flow. And so now I've been flowing through my days instead of blasting through my days, and still getting the same amount, if not more, done. And I think I just wanted to just take my time with it. And I've been able to do that over the last couple weeks. So you always find something beneficial in these threads, or you could find complete nonsense. For instance, back in the day, we talked about the madman. He was one of the first men to time travel. I mean, we just talked about remote viewing. I don't know if that was last week or the week before. Flipping bricks for Mansa Musa. Everything. We talk about everything on this podcast. Nothing is off limits. And as always, the threads are in the description. So please hit the links and read along as we go through them. But speaking of time travel and the madman, I found a thread that has a little bit more time travel in it. And since we're talking about jumping around in time, it's been a year of the podcast. We're jumping back and forth from summer into fall. Well, actually, from spring into summer. We just had the longest day of the year. Time, it just keeps on slipping, right? But there is a verified story of time travel. It was put out by Darshak Rana. Do I know who that Darshak Rana person is? No, not at all. But we're going to go through this thread that he put out. This is the most verified time travel story in history. 251 AD. 7 men entered a cave fleeing execution. They fell into deep sleep and woke up 2 centuries later to find a different world. Christianity and Islam both acknowledge it. Here's what really happened. Oh, also, we just had Christianity. That reminds me, we just got past Father's Day. The last episode came out on Father's Day. I supplied some Father's Day fodder. And yeah, so Christianity, I just wanted to once again say happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. If you have a dad, I hope you wished him a happy Father's Day. I took mine out to dinner. It was a great time. We visited my sister where she works at, and we got the whole family together. That was really sweet. But no, I hope that you wish your father a happy Father's Day or did something nice for him. And if you don't have a father, you do have a father, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So please acknowledge your father on Father's Day. Anyway, the thread goes on to say the year was 251 AD. Roman Emperor Decius had ordered the persecution of Christians. Again, these Romans, they keep coming after Christ. 7 young men in Ephesus refused to renounce their faith. Their punishment, death. So they ran. Fight, flight, or freeze. What are you boys going to do in the face of danger? They fled to a remote cave in Mount Pion. Exhausted and starving, they collapsed inside. Roman soldiers discovered their hiding place. Instead of executing them, they sealed the cave shut. The 7 men were effectively buried alive. Then, something inexplicable happened. The men drifted into a deep, unnatural sleep. Days passed, then months, then years. The world outside changed. I'm so upset right now. The world outside changed. Empires rose and fell. They were completely unaware. Let's pause for a second. I was just at the end of this tweet going to give myself the most braggadocious pat on the back for getting through that tweet without fumbling a word like I had mentioned earlier in the show. Because I had said inexplicable, without no guff, no muff, no problems. Just send it. I nailed it. And I mess up on the word empires. Okay, days, months, years passed, the world outside changed, empires rose and fell, and they were completely unaware. 196 years later, however, the year 447 AD, a landowner, unaware of the ancient execution, would 196 years, would I consider something from 200 years ago ancient? Maybe if I was trash talking it, but I wouldn't actually say that. Anyway, he broke the cave open. Inside, the 7 men awoke. To them, only a single night had passed. They had no idea they had slept for nearly 2 centuries. All of these folks, they appear to be sleeping with silver dishes on their head. Like I said, if you're following along with this thread, you'll look at this and go, I don't know, there's a possibility that we're looking at a space, an adventure into space. They almost look like they have astronaut helmets on. The way these silver halos are outlining their heads as they all sleep in a circle. The thread goes on to say, but the world outside was unrecognizable. The mighty Roman Empire had crumbled. Christianity, once outlawed, was now a dominant religion. A new emperor, Theodosius II, ruled the land. They had woken up in a new reality. One of them, Malchus, walked into the city to buy food, but when he handed over his coins, the shopkeeper froze. The coins bore the image of Emperor Decius, who had been dead for almost 200 years, and these rumors spread instantly. Malchus was dragged before the city officials, and he tried to explain. We fled from persecution yesterday. But the officials laughed. Yesterday, Decius had been gone for generations. Something was terribly wrong. Word reached Emperor Theodosius II. Fascinated, he traveled to Ephesus to meet the 7 men. When he arrived, the men told their story. The emperor, deeply moved, declared their survival a divine miracle. The men barely had time to process what had happened. Their families were long gone. Their city was unfamiliar. Everything they knew had vanished. They had become living relics of a lost world. Shortly after revealing their story, something eerie occurred. One by one, 7 men lay down inside the cave. They closed their eyes, and they never woke up again. So they each just went back into the cave and laid down, is how it appears. And they never woke up again, huh? Christianity and Islam both acknowledge their existence. In Christianity, they are known as the 7 sleepers of Ephesus. In Islam, they are called Ashab al-Kahf and are mentioned in the Quran. But the mystery remains. How did they survive without food or water for 196 years? Why did their bodies not decay? And why did they all die immediately after telling their stories? Science offers no clear answers. The legend of the seven sleepers has persisted for centuries. Ancient records in Rome, Byzantium, and the Middle East all tell the same story. Too consistent to be a mere myth. Too impossible to be easily explained. Historians argue, was it a divine intervention, a natural state of suspended animation, a distortion in time itself? The truth is buried in the past, but one fact remains, that this is the most bizarre time travel case in history. The cave still exists today in a modern-day Turkey. Pilgrims and tourists visit, hoping to feel the presence of the seven men, but no one has ever experienced what they did, and perhaps no one ever will. Some believe the seven sleepers were chosen, a message from history itself, that time is not as rigid as we think, and that the past and future are more connected than we realize. Seems like a true anomaly to me, and it also seems like it's funny how I bring up the Lord before this thread, and then we hear what seems to me to be a very biblical story, and kind of the message behind it is no matter what you're persecuted for or up against, as long as there's no matter what you're persecuted for or what somebody's chastising or criticizing you for, if it's righteous, it'll live forever. So it's okay to be a martyr. And these people were fine with it. Because even though they ran, if they didn't run, they would have been killed immediately. They faced their fate ultimately, but at least in this case, these fellas, they were able to see that their faith was righteous in the end. And they didn't die thinking that Christianity was going to die with them. They got to see it live on for centuries without them. And then they could just die peacefully and happy. It's interesting, though. Like, how do people get locked in a cave, blocked from all air, have no food or water, and still seem to not only just survive, but exist in perpetuity? Would that be the word? I mean, they were completely preserved. Nothing had been wrong with them at all. And they were able to kind of just push through it. They have to have some types of tricks or tips to be able to pull that off. I mean, how do they not age? Which leads me into the next thread. From the metabolic factor. Most men feel like shit by 40. But it's not aging, it's bad habits. If you've gained belly fat, lost energy, and feel off, this thread is your wake-up call. Here are 5 habits to reverse the damage. Oh, so maybe because they were just asleep, they didn't have any bad habits, and that's what helped them live on forever. I don't know. Anyway, the thread goes on to say, stop blaming age. Start noticing patterns. Sudden belly growth, low energy all day, more irritability. Your dad's health path equals your warning sign. You're not doomed. You're just stuck in a bad loop. So break it. 2. Sleep. The performance steroid nobody talks about. We talk about it all the time here on Bookmarks with Bump. By 35, recovery tanks. Stress makes it worse. Fix your sleep, 7 to 9 hours nightly. Same bedtime daily. Cold, dark room. No screens for 1 hour before bed. Sleep equals strength. And that no screens is definitely the hardest part in the modern era. We are surrounded by screens, TVs, computers, our cell phones, our TVs, and computers, and oftentimes people fall asleep watching something. Do you fall asleep, though? Do you allow your body to rest, your brain, your eyes to rest, get rest before you're resting? Probably not. Sleep equals strength. Number 3, fix your food or stay tired forever. Most men eat like it's still college, and here's your upgrade. 30 or more grams of protein per meal. Ditch the liquid calories, no sodas, no beers, no vodka, whiskey, what? Veggies 2 times per day. Prep tomorrow's food today, which is great. I mean, veggies 2 times a day, I think, is cutting it on the low side. I think we could all afford a little bit more. I almost eat veggies with almost every meal, I'm thinking right now. Like, my dinner is typically eggs, kale, and tomatoes. My lunch is salad with beets and chicken breast. What's in between there? I'll have like a penne pasta with chicken. always 30 grams of protein or more. And then there's always fruit mixed in there as well. Food is fuel and eat like it. And this is something that's helped me a lot when I went through a pattern of eating just crap for pleasure. Food is fuel and it's not pleasure. We get pleasure from performance. We get pleasure from achievement. Don't allow that instant gratification to be your idea of what pleasure is. Number 4, movement isn't optional. Want energy after 40? Don't sit still. Walk 8,000 plus steps a daily. Let's go to 10,000 there. Lift weights 2 times per week. Let's go to 3 there. And stretch in the morning. Move every hour. Your body craves motion, and motion creates emotion. I feel like the biggest change that I made in my life, the biggest motivating factor for happiness for myself, was finding these goals that I've built over the last few years and just attacking them daily. Like I'm working for something every day. And I think that has a big factor in how you feel on a day-to-day basis. Not just that you're doing something, oh yeah, I did it, but you're working towards something, you're looking towards something. A lot of us don't have anything to look towards. And I talked about this a few weeks ago before I went into my last half marathon. It's like, what is your why? Find your why and make it your everything. We'll move on to say, number 5, master stress like high performers do. You don't need to quit your job or move to a cabin. Breathe deeply for 1 minute every hour. Say no often, schedule worry time, and create a quiet morning routine. Calm mind, clear focus, strong body. That's beautiful. Breathe deeply for 1 minute an hour. And I think that I've helped myself, as I talked about in this episode, I've helped myself de-stress my summer by introducing box breathing into the whole routine here. I also shaved my head so I don't have to worry about going bald anymore. Anyway, the thread goes on to say, number 6 would be, here's your roadmap to thrive at 40 plus. Now, I'm planning 10 years ahead here. Some of you longer, but nonetheless. Prioritize sleep, eat protein first, move daily, manage stress like your life depends on it, and track progress weekly. Most men decline and winners level up. The final takeaway would be, you're not too old, you're undertrained, underrested, and undernourished. Master these 5 habits and rebuild the man or woman you are meant to be. And it's the truth. I mean, you move daily, you manage stress like your life depends on it, because it does. We've talked on this podcast about cortisol many times before. I get those two mixed up. One's a pain reliever and one is a stress hormone that courses through our body and causes visceral fat to grow and stay. It's caused by stress and it kills your heart. If you're constantly stressed out, if you're constantly worried about things that you have no control over, you are going to lose control of yourself very quickly. Take deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, breathe through the diaphragm. Organize what you can control and what you can't, and attack the things you can, and be proud of yourself for chipping away at it and making a contribution towards yourself. That has been my mantra for the last 6 years. Like, what can I control? There was a point in my life where I felt like I had control over nothing, and that's what got me into my healthy lifestyle based on longevity and building goals, and all of that came from the fact that there were a lot of things that were out of my control. I had to do what I had to do to be reacclimated and have some semblance of a respectable life moving forward in society. And the things that were in my control were neglected for a very long time, and the most important thing being my health. I didn't pay any attention to my health. I was a very unhealthy person when I was drinking and doing drugs. I was a fool. And here I was at 23 years old thinking that I was a man just because of my age, but I was a boy for a long time. And even now, like, even with how much work that I've put into myself, my standards have changed. My standards have raised very highly, and I don't really think I became a man until this past year and a half. This past year and a half has been where I've really blossomed into the person that that I feel like I'm supposed to be, and the person that I'm the most proud of. And it took a long time, and things take time, but don't focus too much on the big picture. Have the big picture in mind, but focus at the chips that you're chiseling away at. And the more you focus on those, you're looking at your contributions, your daily contributions, and that's what we need to make the world go round. So what else makes the world go round? Okay, you could say the government makes the world go round. You could say that money makes the world go round. You could say that booty makes the world go round. Fat bottom girls, they make the world go round. Shout out Freddie Mercury for writing a big booty anthem, even though this month is one that he's very acclimated with. Big bucktooth gay boy. But nonetheless, we move on to what makes the world go round. Well, hidden agendas can make the world go round. We got into some conspiracy fodder earlier. We do that from time to time here on this podcast. It can't always be health and wellness, okay? It can't always be so serious. You can't take life so serious 100% of the time. You got to be a goofball. As long as you have your ducks in a row before you act like a silly goose, you can silly goose as much as you want. And right now we're going to get into the silly gooseness of Bookmarks with Bump. I found a thread that was based on hidden agendas. And this is great, because we'll start off with the moon. But nonetheless, the Matrix Mysteries put out a thread that goes on to say the illusion was never built on a single lie. It was built on decades of coordinated events, each one reinforcing the last. Edward Snowden is credited to that quote. A thread exposing the hidden agendas behind world events. Number 1, the moon wasn't the lie. The footprints were. The moon landing cover-up. The moon landing wasn't a scientific breakthrough, it was just a Cold War performance. In 1969. Nice. The U.S. didn't just race to the moon, it raced to control the narrative of global dominance through televised spectacle. Decades later, the evidence has disappeared. Telemetry, data vanished, technology lost, and no return mission in over 50 years. This wasn't a leap for mankind, it was the opening act in a decades-long theater of control. Number 2, 9/11, a catalyst for control. 9/11 wasn't just a terrorist attack, it was a turning point in manufactured consent. In one morning, fear rewrote laws, erased rights, and justified endless war. The real collapse wasn't just steel and concrete, it was public discernment. From building demolitions to vanishing black boxes and untouched passports, the inconsistencies were never answered, just buried. The question was never what happened. It was what did they need to happen and who benefited. I mean, 9/11 is it's a very open book at this point. You look at the things that are happening today. You look at the Malaysian Airlines flight, okay, where you're tracking this flight. And the conclusion these days is that the pilot committed suicide. He flew over his hometown. He flew over places that he was fond of and then just flew off into the ocean, depressurized the cabin, made sure everybody was unconscious, and plummeted into the ocean to kill himself. The black boxes for 9/11 were where? These passports for the terrorists that we ended up blaming, despite the fact that the building was burning at such a hot level that it completely collapsed, imploded the buildings. The passports were found intact amongst the rubble. Okay. How about that flight, a Boeing 747 jet that just went down in India, crashed into a building, caught on fire, exploded. Pieces of the plane are still sticking out of the building. So what the hell happened on 9/11? I don't know. Who knows? And whoever knows what they got out of it. I think it was Rumsfeld who had a big old insurance policy on that building who ended up getting paid out a ton of money. Money was missing from the Pentagon the day before it happened. Anyway, The thread goes on to say, the climate change hoax. We're talking about all these hidden agendas here. Climate change isn't a crisis, it's a business model. The narrative has been to weaponize, to push carbon credits, green taxes, and endless solutions that enrich the few and burden the many. Behind every doomsday headline is an economic or political motive. The goal was never to save the planet. It was to sell you fear, restrict your choices, and enforce compliance under the illusion of moral responsibility. Number 4, Big Pharma. A patient cured is a customer loss. Yes, the sick care system, as Robert F. Kennedy calls it. The pharmaceutical industry doesn't invest in health. It invests in recurring revenue, cures and profit. Lifelong treatment keeps the system alive and the money flowing. Symptoms are managed, not eliminated. Side effects become markets for more drugs, and anyone who challenges the model, whether a holistic healer or a whistleblower, is silenced or discredited. The goal isn't wellness, it's dependency. Packaged as care. Pardon my yawn there. Number 5, COVID-19 was a virus. The response was a real weapon. A global virus became a global reset. Lockdowns, mandates, and fear-based messaging weren't public health measures. Allegedly. I have to say allegedly here because I don't want to get a strike from YouTube. I'm strike-free throughout the course of a year, so I'd really appreciate to remain that way. Nonetheless, I believe all this. They were social conditioning tests. The response was never about a cure. It was about control. Small businesses collapsed while tech giants thrived. Dissent was censored. Compliance became virtue. And with each emergency measure, a new precedent was set for surveillance, for censorship, and for the erosion of bodily autonomy. Number 6, the Federal Reserve, printing power, selling debt. The Federal Reserve isn't federal, and it holds no reserves. It's a privately controlled banking cartel that creates money out of nothing, then loans it to the government with interest, indebting the public by design. Every dollar printed devalues the one in your pocket. Inflation isn't just an accident, it's engineered extraction. This isn't economics, it's financial servitude, masked as monetary policy and enforced through ignorance. Yeah, I mean, our money system is kind of weird, and it's kind of weird how it kind of is the ruler over the world. It might be ranked 2 or 3 right now. I don't know off the top of my head, but the value of the US dollar continues to drop. And why? Why do we do it like this? Why is this the way that we're going about everything? All of our numbers, especially for people like me who get direct deposited, all of our numbers are just zeros and ones through the matrix. It's all just numbers. What is the real value of your bank account? Number 7, the mainstream media propaganda machine. The mainstream media doesn't report news at manufacturers' consent. Owned by a handful of corporations, it doesn't inform the public, it shapes perception to serve power. Stories are framed, facts are filtered, and dissenting voices are erased. The goal isn't to keep you informed, it is to keep you aligned, not with the truth, but the approved version of it. Now, you talk about these communist countries and their state-run media. What is the difference between them and this? There really isn't much of a difference, which is the sad thing. I mean, that's the sad truth. There's not much of a difference between the people who we're telling people are the problem with the world and then us. That's the sad realization you make. I don't watch the news. I get a lot of my information that flows through my head off of Twitter, off of articles, off of facts. You know, the news was supposed to be a platform of facts that allow the public to base and make their own opinions. But you have opinion-based news. You're hearing somebody's opinion and believing that to be the truth. That's not very informative. That's more performative than informative. Nonetheless, we move on to say the overpopulation crisis, number 8, is a fabricated lie. The idea that the planet is overpopulated isn't science, it's social engineering. For decades, fear-based narratives have framed human life as the problem, justifying everything from sterilization campaigns to population management. In reality, many nations are facing declining birth rates, and the fear of overpopulation is used to manipulate people into accepting policies that benefit the few while restricting the many. This is something that a few of world leaders have talked about as of late. Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, I guess you could say Elon Musk, even though he's not a world leader. But J.D. Vance has even talked about how we need more people. We need people to be having more babies. That's one of the problems with our generation today, Generation X, and the millennials. They're not having children. What would be caused from that is a decline in population as time goes on, and what that would cause is difficulty with supplying products that people are demanding. We need people. We don't just need people to work, but we need people to be innovative, to come up with new technologies, to come up with new ideas, and to push the planet forward. Our purpose here is to serve one another, and serving one another includes bringing new people into the fold. Our purpose given by God is to have more people on this planet and to grow and share the word of God amongst those people. Eventually, we'll have nobody to share with. That is the biggest fear, and I think that's the biggest problem. You talk about overpopulation and climate change. A lot of what we talked about was fear-mongering. We want people to be feared, or we want people to live in fear because people in fear are easier to control. That's right up Hitler's playbook. That's even up Rasputin's playbook, and we talked about him. He needed to have control over those oligarchs, and how did he do that? By creating uncertainty. I mean, uncertainty is something that I can't really tie myself to much. With my back against the wall, I've been able to do everything that I've had to do. I've lived a lot of my life with my back against the wall. Maybe I prefer it that way. Maybe I've sabotaged myself so many times to see what I could come back from. And at this point in my life, I'm not looking towards that anymore. I'd like to just move forward with my head held high and my shirt tucked into my pants and handle it professionally. The one thing that I am certain of is that you can find me on all social media. On Instagram at TCGXBump, Twitter at BumpOfTTS, Snapchat, Shondus. I'm on TikTok, bookmarkswbump. Email me at bookmarkswbump@gmail.com. Let me know a thread or a topic that you would like me to touch on, speak on. I won't touch on anything without consent. And then if you're, like always, if you're in need of some fitness or health tips, I am a certified personal trainer, and I am more than willing to help any and everybody who reaches out to me. A hand in need is a hand I need. Yes, indeed. Please like, comment, subscribe on whatever platform of your choosing. Let's run the engagement up, run the numbers up. We're here at a year right now. Over the last year, we gained 60 subscribers. I'm hoping to move and make, let's say, 100 subscribers over the next year moving forward. Let's take Bookmarks with Bump to the moon and true to roof. But even if we don't, I'm certain that I'll be back here next Sunday at 4 a.m. This Sunday, we got a great game on tonight. So after you listen to this, please be sure to tune in to Game 7 of the NBA Finals, because once this game is over, it's football season, baby. And as always, it's all love. God bless.
I supply that fire, man. I'm a night rider. I've been riding a wave like I surf. I've been leaning in and out of work. I could show you what it's worth. Money to the ceiling. I started at the dirt. I've been riding wave like I surf. I've been leaning in and out of work. I could show you what it's worth. Money to the ceiling. I started at the dirt. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go up past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I give what I got, I supply that fire. I supply that fire, man. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go up past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go up past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher, man.